Was getting rid of this a good idea from Mercedes? Hell no. What I probably won't answer no to is whether buying one of these in 2025 is a good idea. So welcome to a real AMG, being specific, the C63 Estate. And my reasoning behind calling this a real AMG is because the closer I get to the exhaust, the louder I have to shout. But with the newer ones, I could stand here and not raise my voice at all because there isn't any sound. And now I know what you might be thinking, it's not all about the sound, it's about the performance. And this has plenty. It's a V8 4-litre twin turbocharged AMG. Those words together just sound like madness. So with the C63, we have two variants. This, the standard version, and then the S. And the standard version only has 470 horsepower, while the S version tips the scales just over 500 brake horsepower. And I'm not gonna lie, growing up, I said I'd never buy an Estate, but as I've got older, I've really learned to appreciate the look and of course the extra space, and this is no exception. Have a look at that. We'll touch on cabin space in a minute, but in terms of rear boot space, there is an abundance, as expected in any Estate. I'm still quite shocked here because it doesn't look that big. Yeah, you've got to really think about it. You're going from about here back. And moment of truth, what do we think? Having sat in the back of an M3 about an hour ago, I'm pleased to say there is enough space in here. And if we have a look in here, I'm gonna be honest, I absolutely love it. And the reason why, it's got the right amount of balance when it comes to buttons. You've got a few push buttons here, still physical, some little switches here to go up and down with, and then you've got analog dials. Like, come on, AMG dials they just win. Look at that. Come on guys, look at that. Paired with this flat bottom steering wheel, which of course has its multifunction buttons, there is loads of adjustability. It's pure luxury. So here it is, the W205 C63 Estate, the last of the proper V8 wagons and what many owners call the end of a real AMG. We're talking big engines, brutal noise, rear-wheel drive drama, everything AMG used to stand for. But ask most enthusiasts today and they'll say AMG has lost that raw, untamed feel. So is there a place for all of that rawness in 2025, or do we just really need to grow up a bit? Let's find out. So this is an AMG, so there's only really one thing that we should be doing here. Dynamic all the way down into Sports Plus. Manual mode and see you later. Something you've got to give it is the AMG has always been, to me, a Jekyll and Hyde car. Any AMG from this age and down, being able to just plod along there in comfort with the car behind just thinking, oh, that's a nice looking car, to then a few switches on our I can't even speak, on our dynamic select button, and we're away again. You could never get bored of an AMG. Now, what does sound a bit boring is the fact that the new AMG is a 2-litre, a 2-litre 4-pot. Now it does make stupid horsepower, 600 or 700 horsepower, but it won't sound like this. And of course, trying to please all of our, I don't know, leaf eaters and green health people, it's gonna have some form of electricity going through its veins, and this doesn't. This is just pure brutal performance, and how it does that is insane. Again, the suspension is in the firmest setting here, and if I dial that back into comfort, I'm cool. I'm cruising along, steering's gone nice and light, the dampers have softened out, and the kids are now back in their seats as opposed to in the front here with me, because the 6-pot brakes in front and the hard acceleration has meant that their Cheerios are all over the gaff. Respect the kids, have some fun when needed, and fill the boot up with shopping, so that way when you do go out for long drives, because of the sound of this engine is so lovely, the wife's still happy. But jokes aside, 2025, cars don't sound like this. The AMG doesn't sound like this, as we just mentioned. A 2-litre 4-cylinder engine. I know, Golf GTI, Golf R, great cars, but they're not the sort of thing that you're going to turn up to a meet and everyone's going to be running to see. Of course, at the end of the day, it's what you like, but deep down, you know what you want and you know what you need. And life's about living. Every now and then, get a want. The needs are the important things. The mortgage, the phone bill, the food, the electricity, all of those stuff. That's all the stuff that we need. But what we want every now and then just needs to be visited. And if you had this car, you could do that all day. Space and abundance. The boot is huge. There's enough space in the rear seats. Driving up here at the front, we've got this pan roof, which really makes the front cabin feel nice and airy. Flat bottom steering wheel with all the buttons at nice reach. No haptic feedback buttons. Physical, simple buttons. Personally, in 2025, these are the sort of cars that people should be going for. If you want to go for a new car because you've got the budget, sure, go for it. But we both know a real car is something that provides you with edge of the seat fun, good sound, and at the end of the day, something that puts a smile on your face. And straight line speed and all of that instant torque is great, but we know what really gets our blood pumping, and that's the sound. And as mentioned, when it came to estate or performance estates, it was really only Audi and Mercedes that were doing bits. If you look at what BMW were doing, it was more diesel estates and just, yeah, big, black smoke, unhealthy diesels. But where they then decided to fix things was with the new M3 Touring and the M340i, which this probably is a closer competitor to. If you really wanted to go against the M3 Touring, then we'd be looking at the C63 S. But personally, if we're looking at an estate, for what I need in a car, I don't need a lot of horsepower. I just need enough to keep me happy, but at the same time, still enough to be smart, if that makes sense. You've got to look at it in comfort mode. This thing then drops the clutch. When we're cruising along at a decent speed and let go, you get a little sign, a little sell sign, and that just means it's coasting. So efficiency, it could probably do 35 mpg all day, every day. Now, where this car has in the past probably let down quite a few people is that it's pricey. Luckily, this is a used version at FDR Performance, but if you were buying this car brand new, you'd probably think, for what I'm paying, and it's not the S model, I probably would be better off getting an Audi. Now, what a lot of manufacturers have done, they've gone over the top recently. They've changed the front end or the rear end or the interior of the car so much so that it doesn't date. I get it, they're trying to prolong the shelf life of the car, but by doing that, it doesn't look like in this case, a Mercedes. But what I love about this is this hasn't dated, and the newer Mercedes still look like Mercedes. They haven't changed the badge, they haven't really changed the grille compared to BMW, but this hasn't lost its place. It still has that aggressive front end. Sure, the rear end might be a tad bit bland. It looks like it's been given the biggest spank of its life. But that aside, I don't really believe that I'm in the old generation of Mercedes right now. You could go for the S with the digital cockpit and a wider infotainment screen. I'm not looking at all of that. I'm looking at an analog dial with a checkered carbon fiber style background with red dials that just fly up all the way to 7,000 RPM if needed. So, is it the RS4 with the extra space? Having lived with one for quite a while, I can be honest and say it does feel a bit more spacious than this. But as I mentioned, 5'11", sitting here in a good position, a 511 sitting in the back, no problem. Boot space is huge. So unless you're a family of giants, I don't think you'd notice the extra space you get in the RS4. But something you will notice is the fact that this has a heart. Wow. What also has a heart is the team at FTR Performance, because they love giving you guys insane cars at great prices. And not just that, they also provide you with mods. So if you were after this car and you said, you know what, I wanted a black rear spoiler, they would provide that for you. I want the Pan America grille. Whoops, already done. These boys know how to spec a car and they know how to sell a car. So if you are interested in any car for that matter, make sure you hit them up, based here in Dunstable. And as usual, if you have found this video helpful, please smash the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see all of your beautiful faces in the next one. Take care and God bless. And no, I'm not gonna send it because look, people live here. Yeah, if this was an Audi RS4, I would have done, but it's not. It's a C63. That's enough. Take care, guys. See you in the next one.